So, last night we got officially confirmed from Sony Pictures a couple of Spider-Man announcements, all right? So, we'll start with Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now, this movie has, we've been covering it for a while, right? And the last couple of things we heard from it, as far as from people like Jeff Snyder and others, were that it was being reworked, it was going to be delayed, they weren't really ready. And I forget exactly who it was, but somebody on the actual Spider-Man team got in some weird Twitter thing where they tried to denounce one of Jeff's scoops about it or whatever. You know how that goes. Seems to be a thing whenever there's inside information out there. Sometimes people that work at these companies and actually work on the projects get really weird about it. And sometimes they lie and they're like, that's not true. I bring that up because yesterday at the big CinemaCon presentation, so it's supposed to be a huge deal for these studios, man, right? And Hollywood's hurting, so they need to go big. Well, the biggest they could go with Beyond the Spider-Verse was saying that it comes out in 2027, marking a date in June, and then giving us 4 new pieces of concept art. Okay, so this is one of them, and I'm not going to lie, it's cool. It's really cool, right? Prowler version of Miles. Very cool. And you did have this one here, which looks to be in the Miles' world as well, right? And I think there were a couple others. I don't know which ones were actually new. I feel like this one's old. And I saw a different one that looked pretty cool. Oh, this one looks pretty cool right here. Okay. Now, here's the thing. While this is technically good news, to me, it basically confirms that Jeff was 100% right. If you are going big at CinemaCon in 2025 and you're showing me 4 pieces of concept art and you're dropping a date 2 years away, your shit ain't working right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be rude here to anybody involved. I'm still really excited about the movie. But this clearly, to me, just confirms everything we've been talking about. And I'd like to bring that up because, frankly, a lot of high-profile people, including the people that sometimes work on these projects, try to act like we don't know the fuck we're talking about. And that's not true. This thing is delayed. Now, I'll take it even a step further. The rumor I heard, and I'm starting to think this is potentially real, the rumor I heard was that parts of the third movie were going to connect so much to Kang Dynasty, and Marvel's plan to go away from Kang and to Doctor Doom might have thrown a real monkey wrench into what Sony was planning. And so they had to remake it either way. Okay? Now, take that as a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt, but it would make sense. It would explain a lot of what has been happening. My only question then is, are they now going to connect it to Doctor Doom, or are they just kind of isolating themselves and just going to tell a complete Sony story? Not really sure, but that's kind of the rumors surrounding that, and then a lot of the reporting leading up to the announcement last night, in my opinion, has been proven correct. This movie's been going through it. Now, question, right? Does that mean we should worry about the movie? I don't really think so. I'm going to be honest, because the first movie and the second movie have a 5-year delay, 5-year gap. It's looking like it'll be around that same gap for the second to the third. And I trust the creative team. I think ultimately they will deliver quality. It just is also the case that for whatever reason, the production has been very slow, and I would argue probably fell apart at one point. Probably connected to Kang, etc. Right? So that's kind of the update. Now, the crazy part was I saw a bunch of fans being super excited about that, and that's fine. You can be hyped up that the movie's coming out, but this is propaganda, man. This isn't actually a W. This is we're kind of holding the L on this, but it's still coming. Basically, what I interpret the announcements about that to mean. Okay, now let's get into the real juicy stuff. Let's talk about Spider-Man 4. So, Spider-Man 4 has been a film, a project that we have spoken about for years at this point. It's coming up on 3 years of rumors because this was a big movie for Marvel and Sony. Always was going to be. I mean, No Way Home, shared universes, the fact that Tom Holland's maybe one of the biggest stars in Marvel. We had all these reports come out from Joanna Robinson when she wrote that book, Reign of Marvel Studios, that the original plan going into phases 4 and 5 was to have Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, and Brie Larson be the main faces, the trinity, so to speak, of the MCU. So all of those people are very important. Obviously, Chadwick tragically passed, and Brie tragically became super cringe. So, what's left? Tom Holland. Well, obviously, they haven't had him in a lot of shit. So there's been something holding it up, despite Kevin and Marvel Studios really wanting that guy to be a big part of Marvel's plan. So because of all of that, we've been covering Brand New Day extensively. All kinds of rumors, dude. At this point, the rumors are insane. The rumors are out of control. You've got Mephisto, Hulk, Ghost Rider, Toby, Andrew, Doctor Doom, Aunt May, friggin' Mary Jane, Sadie Sinks. You know, Spider Queens, Sydney Sweeney, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Croc. We have no idea what the hell's going on. Well, last night we got a little bit of closure on some of these questions when it was officially announced that Spider-Man Brand New Day is exclusively in movie theaters in July 31st next year. Now, let's start with the basics. The basics. What does this mean? Well, it means that Jeff was wrong. Sorry, but several people were wrong that said there's no way that's keeping its date there, right? So it's keeping its date. That's number one. Number two, like, yeah, they're clearly going to have to start filming this thing really fucking soon. And that was announced yesterday. Destin came out, made some statements. We're going to go over some things he said because I think it's pretty cool. But they're going to be filming really soon, probably queuing up towards the end of summer. I would imagine Tom goes right from Odyssey into this. And potentially into Avengers 5 as well. Now, there is some question about whether or not Spider-Man will be in Doomsday. By the way, I got my best people on it. We're going to figure it out soon. But either way, he's going to be in Spider-Man 4. If Jeff is correct and he's not in Doomsday, that kind of makes Brand New Day even more important, I would argue. Again, I don't believe that. I think he will be in Doomsday. And I believe Brand New Day as a title kind of soft confirms that. Because Brand New Day, many comic book people know that. And then, Wikipedia or AI users probably figured it out late last night, too. The storyline between, One More Day, Brand New Day, this all had to do with Peter Parker making a deal with Mephisto to bring Aunt May back to life, or basically save her life. She had been shot and nobody could fix her or something. I don't know. It was really weird. And he makes a deal with Mephisto, sacrificing his marriage with Mary Jane in order to save Aunt May. Okay? And this was also happening at a time after Peter had his identity revealed via Civil War. So it was like a really weird time in comics. They were trying to figure out a way to like status quo upgrade Spider-Man. So you do this whole thing, this whole reality where he's married to Mary Jane, and then you undo that and create a totally new scenario where Peter basically goes back to status quo. He's no longer married. He goes back to work at the Daily Bugle. Just more basic Spider-Man stuff, I guess. Well, I think the most important part of the Brand New Day connection, which, by the way, check this out. This is mind-blowing. October of last year, we had this come out, and we went over it. We went over this on stream. Spider-Man 4 feature film, talking about the shooting location, the producers. Check this out, though. Following the events of Doomsday, Peter Parker is determined to lead a normal life and focus on college, stepping back into his responsibilities as Spider-Man. So, again, after Doomsday, normal life, wants to be on college, stepping back from his responsibilities as Spider-Man. However, peace is short-lived when a deadly new threat emerges, endangering his friends and forcing Peter to reconsider his promise. With stakes higher than ever, Peter reluctantly agrees to return to his Spider-Man identity and finds himself teaming up with an unlikely ally to protect those he loves. Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, Michael Keaton, Vulture, and Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom, mentioned to join the cast. It's called, and this is really important at the very bottom of this, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So, this was from, Production Weekly or something? It was went out officially, and it did have the name correct. Okay? Now, I would argue, just to sort of set this up right, we still don't 100% know exactly what's happening in Spider-Man 4. But it is kind of interesting that this Brand New Day thing was leaked literally in October of last year. We went through all the same conversations we are about to have again then, and we had speculated that the deal with the devil, this new lease on life, getting his identity back, That's all probably connected to the plot. So basically what I think is the reason they're calling it Brand New Day is that you're going to basically swap out Mephisto for Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom will make some kind of a deal with Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and that deal will give Tom Holland this new life with potentially Aunt May back. Potentially he's just not Spider-Man at all, but maybe there's a different Spider-Man. You know what I mean? If it's the Spider Island stuff and it's on Battleworld, that opens up a whole new can of worms, and you could see a version of Brand New Day with Peter on Battleworld still trying not to be Spider-Man. Like, you can do the whole thing in Battleworld. It's just like a very different aesthetic, right? So I say all that to say, we don't know for sure, but the announcement yesterday does match up with this, and it could, at the very least, kind of adjust how we're speculating about the film. Now, a couple more things that were officially talked about yesterday. This is pretty cool. Here's a comment made by Destin Daniel Crichton on stage at CinemaCon last night. He said, "I'm spending my time exploring the next stage of this amazing character with a team of the most incredible artists in the world. We're all just daily nerding out over the suit, how to swing, how to create an event, and an emotional story, and a ride that we haven't really seen before." Now, some people said he was talking about a new suit, and I don't know that he actually said new suit, but he did mention a suit. And there's a lot of rumors that this will be either the black suit, like the symbiote suit, especially if that happens in Doomsday potentially, or it's the classic red and blue suit from the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, right? And then we had comments made from Tom Holland. Tom Holland was shooting the Odyssey. He phoned in and said a little something to the crowd with a video. And this is one of the things he said there. He said, "I know we left you with a massive cliffhanger at the end of No Way Home. So Spider-Man Brand New Day is a fresh start. It is exactly that." Now, so, as we've sort of been discussing, right, it really depends on how you think of this. If you're really thinking in terms of Brand New Day from the comic books, you could potentially connect that to Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom recreates a universe, gives Peter what he wants, but then he's not Spider-Man, according to the Production Weekly thing, and then he becomes Spider-Man later on, right? I'm not really sure. We also know that the story in the script is being reworked. So Tom himself had admitted this, and a lot of the reporting around it suggests, yeah, they're still working things. So even though they have the basics of a story, you know, they're casting, they're doing all the stuff, Sadie sings in it, etc. Could be the case that it's not fully fleshed out yet. So we will see. But either way, these are some pretty fascinating updates with regards to Spider-Man. Really find it interesting that this matches up from October of last year. And I don't know, I guess we'll just see. It's just the case that Brand New Day was already top of mind. We had addressed the thing from last year. We were already thinking in terms of like Deal with the Devil, Battleworld, New Universe. So we'll see. Maybe something comes out that shakes that up. For now, I think we've been on track with what that movie is. There's also several versions of that movie that could still work within the context of the leaks and rumors that we have heard.